start covering some of these other topics as well too, and let her she gets ready, then we'll go ahead and kick it out. Shout out to Selassie for your contribution on Cash App. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna get this thing rolling. Shout out to Selassie on Cash App. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing rolling. Minister Ali, you there? Well, since Minister Ali, she may, like I say, she's trying to coordinate things on her end. She's trying to coordinate things on her end. So since she's trying to coordinate things, let me go ahead, guys, and get this thing started. And then we'll come back when she gets everything ready with Chaz. We'll come back and we'll get everything rolling as well too. Let me go ahead and start off with the actual situation that's going on with of course, with Tupac. Of course, we know Tupac was killed in 1996. This is from Chicago Defender. This is from the Chicago Defender. Let me go ahead and we ain't got none of our co-hosts up in here yet either, guys. So bear with us. Our co-host will be coming up in here. It says search warrant executed in investigation into Tupac Shakur's murder. I'm going to go ahead and put these articles up in the Jumbotron when I get a chance as well too during the space. I'll put the articles in the Jumbotron as well. I forgot to put them on YouTube, family, so my bad on that. I forgot to, I like to normally have our receipts on hand, and I forgot about that as well. So that was my fault there, but I'm going to get to you, Viral. It says, could there be a break in the case involving decades-old killing of Tupac Shakur? That appeared to be the case when Las Vegas authorities confirmed they served a search warrant this week concerning Shakur's murder, which happened nearly 27 years ago. The search warrant was executed in nearby Henderson, Nevada, according to the Las Vegas Police Department. A department spokesman said he could not provide further details on this development, including whether the warrant was served at a home or business due to it remaining open investigation. There's no statute of limitations in Nevada for persecuting homicide cases. Tupac, perhaps the most influential figure in hip-hop history, was shot on September 7th in 1996 in a drive-by shooting at a Las Vegas intersection. He passed away 6 days later at a local hospital. For decades, the details surrounding Tupac's murder have been shrouded in mystery. The case has been relentlessly chronicled in numerous documentaries, movies, books, and has been the subject of many conspiracy theories. Still, its influence remains indelible, whether in hip hop, pop, film, or in the world general. So yeah, guys, Tupac, and I'm hearing and some people saying that the actual, what's going on, Brooke, what's going on, Reaps and everybody over there, and the actual YouTube world as well too. And Reaps saying why is his death coming back up? They opened this investigation back up. I don't know why they opened the investigation back up after 27 years. We all assume that Orlando Anderson, the one that that got killed on the streets himself, was the one that was always suspected as being the guy that actually killed him. But I'm hearing that too, that his uncle Keefe D, that actually a lot of people trying to say, and I don't know how valid it is, but a lot of people trying to say that Keefe D, it was his house that's been allegedly it was his house that they've been investigating and everything else as well too. So I don't know exactly. I know Keefe D said a while ago, a couple years ago, of course, Orlando Anderson was dead, but he was brought up on some charges. So Keefe D said basically that Orlando Anderson was a trigger man. So I don't know exactly what is the actual motive behind this, because it seems like his killer is already dead. So unless they're trying to make it more to, I don't know exactly what it is, what's more to the story here going on, everybody. But who Orlando Anderson? This is what Reep said. Rep say, who Orlando Anderson, have never heard of these people. Keefe D. Orlando Anderson was a guy that was supposed to be the one up in the casino that night that Tupac and them actually jumped on. Like when he started hitting them and fighting, Orlando Anderson was a gangbanger, and he was supposed to be a G to it for real. So that's who it was. He he was supposed to be a G. Like I said, this is 27. Man, I was in high school when this happened. I was in high school when both Biggie and Tupac was killed. So I just don't understand the whole point of this coming back. They never really found Biggie's murderer, but the thing with Tupac, I thought that was pretty much, open and sealed. Like pretty much everybody knew exactly what was going on. Minister Ali, you there, sweetie? Okay, Minister Ali may still be trying to go ahead and get this interview situated, guys. So I just want to go ahead and touch up on that. Viral, I know you came up and you got Viral. Can you hear me? Is my audio okay tonight, fam? Okay, you got it, viral. Go ahead.
Ah, man, I just believe a lot of this is just all cap, man. They don't care about who shot Tupac. Tupac was so influential. He had so many, you know, black black minds gravitate towards a young black mind. It's like they don't want nobody like that because if he would have got older, he probably would have been involved in politics or some other, something to uplift the community. Pac was a rider. Pac had ties with what was that? His mom's was in what was that?
The Black Panthers.
Yeah, yeah. Was it the Black Panthers or the Black Liberation Party?
I
I'm not
believe.
sure which
I,
one.
I believe it was a Black Panther.
Yeah, but he was no, this was later Newstoter where he was trying to reboot the Black Panther Party. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he was trying to reboot that. I think with his moms and them, I think it was called the Black Liberation, something like that.
I believe I've heard of the Black Liberation Party. So maybe you're right about that, viral. I just I always assume a Feeney and Matulo Shakur and them and all of them being
Right,
and
right.
Black Panthers, but you may be right about that.
But it's like now they concerned about what happened to Pac. I'm not buying it. Pac and Big, it's just some straight cap to me. But I believe they knew what was going on with Pac. It might have been some kind of government hit or something. Ain't no telling with Suge involved. I know he was trying to start his own record label called Euthanasia, and he had this jailhouse contract with Suge where he was supposed to produce so many albums, and then he could go. But man, Pac was a rider, bro, and I miss that brother. For a long time, I thought that he was still around, but I just know if he was around, that he couldn't just be silent about all the things that was going on. And I look at some of these other guys like Chadwick Boseman. You had so many kids looking up to him. I'm not really believing that what happened to him was just cancer. It might have been something that was put in him because that movie, if you remember the sales of that movie broke so many records on a global scale, and it just gave something for black kids to look up to. And I don't believe they want something like that because as you get older, you might get into politics or whatever, and that holds a lot of power. That's something they don't want. I don't know. Some people might say that that's a conspiracy theory, but
Well, no, I feel you, viral, because I'm like this, and I agree with you. My girl Brooke said this is BS. They pretend that she's on YouTube. What's up? Shout out to Brooke. She said this is BS. They pretend like they care what happened to a rapper 20 years later. And I'm with you, viral. They already know who killed Biggie and Tupac. Like they like so all the games that they playing and stuff like that. Yo, one got killed on the strip in Las Vegas. Okay, it's not like he got killed on the dark alley. He got killed on the strip in Las Vegas. By everybody knows, like I said, Orlando Anderson was the one that attacked. He attacked in the casino. That's on footage. He attacked him. Suge attacked him, and everybody else attacked him. Whatever, you know. Orlando is a straight up G. He comes back blasting. You know how these boys do in Cali, gang related or whatever. And Biggie gets killed after leaving a party in Los Angeles with all kind of celebrities. I forgot, was it a vibe party or something like that? Like, come on, man. Like, they been knew. They been knew who killed both of these guys. The simple fact is that they felt like their lives wasn't worth it, so it didn't really matter. They didn't care about locking up the people that killed them. In their minds, it was just two niggas that got shot that listened to that rap crap, did that rap crap, and pretty much got what they deserved. So that was the whole thing behind it. So now, almost 30 years later, we're coming up here talking about investigating his murder. And like I say, the man that everybody considers being the one that actually killed him, Orlando Anderson, has been dead. So I mean, what exactly? I don't even understand like the resources they're wasting because it pretty much everybody knows that Orlando Anderson, for the most part, was the one that was responsible for killing Tupac. So I mean, I don't even understand this whole situation. I know some people say this is just a way of distracting and this and that or whatever, as well too. So I don't understand that. This is almost 30 years ago, and like I said, Orlando Anderson was always the one that people considered the actual trigger man. Go ahead, Viral.
Yeah, man, I agree. Like now you're concerned. It's 30 years and now you're concerned about finding out who killed Tupac. And Newstoter, to be honest, as long as he was in the hospital, you know, if you're in the hospital that long, you recovering, right? How long did he survive in the hospital? Like,
I don't think that second time he got shot. I don't think what he survived. Maybe about a week up in there. Maybe about a week.
yeah. But if you in there a week, that means you survived. A lot of times, if you got that amount of damage done to you, you might have a day or a couple of days. But you're talking about a week. That means your body is healed. Mm.
Yeah, real talk,
I
man. Re-
I just that whole situation. I was just man, something ain't right about that. I was what? How old was I? Like 25 at the time. Like, ain't something ain't right.
I was in high school when it happened, so I mean that's what I'm saying, man. I was in high school when it actually went down. FBA Goddess, what's going on? How you doing tonight, sister?
Hey, how y'all doing? All I was gonna say is this is nothing but a distraction, like everything else that's been happening lately. Distraction, distraction. I mean, it's dumb. I mean, you going to a person's house almost 30 years later. That person didn't live in that. Come on now, who lived in the same house who lived in 30 years ago? So, what are you going into his house looking for? Some notes and stuff they said they were looking for. Come on now. All this is dumb. All of these are distractions. We already know that once they throw something out there, don't believe it, look the other way, look at what they're doing on the other side because they're trying to distract you from what is really going on. So we already know that. I just think all this stuff is really dumb. I already called it when it came to that whole. I already said that she was lying a long time ago. I posted it. Everybody always tell me I'm talking crazy, but I was only using logic. If you're driving down a highway and you're going 60 miles, let's say 45, 50 miles an hour, it's at night. How many people are going to stop on a dime and see a child and you're going to get out right? Come on now. It don't take a rocket scientist to know that that was a dumbass lie. And where the food goes? Nobody ain't said nothing about the damn food that was in the car. So, all this stuff, I was just thinking about a whole lot of that stuff, and I put that up, that it was a hoax, and it was a distraction. I put that up probably about the same day after I started listening to all the stuff. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me check with Minister Ali. Minister Ali, you are you there, sweetie? Are you there, sister? Trying to check with Minister Ali. We're trying to set up this interview as well too. So in the meantime, while we're waiting on her, that's why I'm going ahead and putting the actual other topics out there for the space as well too. Minister Ali, are you there? And she's trying to see about trying to do this phone interview. Like I say, Chaz Bunch, he has a new trial coming up August the 3rd. He has a new trial. He was convicted on rape back when he was 16 years old, even though his DNA, none of his DNA was at the actual scene of the crime. His new retrial will be August the 3rd. So we're definitely trying to get the brother in. He's locked up, of course, in prison. We're trying to get him in here and speaking tonight. We had a space some months ago about this very topic. Minister Ali was in here, so we're trying to actually hear from Chaz himself tonight, if possible. We're trying to see how we can go ahead and set that up. He's supposed to be coming up in here if Minister Ali's able to get him as well with the actual because I don't know, she may have to use two phones if possible. I'm not sure she's gonna be able to actually have him on the actual phone while she's doing the Twitter space as well too. Man, DJ account is locked, y'all. So DJ I think he can be in the space tonight. So We're gonna have to hold it down. DJ's not gonna be up in the space tonight, guys. So it is what it is. You know how Twitter is. Everybody's had their account locked before, suspended, and everything else here on Twitter. So welcome to the fabulous world of Twitter. Let me go ahead, too, guys, real quick. I want to touch up on this other article. Let me go ahead and touch up on the Travis King situation. This is from News One as well. Like I said, I'm gonna put these articles when I get a chance up in the Jumbotron. Why did Travis King cross into North Korea? Black U.S. Army soldier was just released from prison. All of these articles tonight are curated once again on the Newstoter.com platform. There are even more questions after it was reported that an American military member who crossed into North Korea was not only a black man, but also one who had recently been released from a South Korean prison and was expected to face additional discipline upon his return to the U.S. Private second class Travis King has been identified as a U.S. Army soldier who was being detained by North Korean authorities after he appeared to defect into the rogue nation that has been largely isolated by global following multiple threats of nuclear aggression. His motivation behind King's action was not immediately clear. The soldier, who was in his early 20s, was allegedly taking part in a tour of the Joint Security Area, JSA, before he crossed the military demarcation line into North Korea. North Korea hasn't offered any public comment about King 23. This cat is young. He's only 23 years old. Here's everything we know about Travis King crossing into South Korea and to North Korea. North Korea is not exactly the place I would want to be at either. I'm just being honest. U.S. soldier Travis King detained after intentionally crossing to North Korea. King faced 2 assault charges and was fined by a South Korean court for damaging a police car. He was being escorted back to the U.S. reportedly to face disciplinary action. Travis King had been recently released from a South Korean prison on assault charges, although the details behind the detention were not immediately clear. Following his release, he was set to return to a military base in Texas, where he was likely to be disciplined, further stemming from his jailing in South Korea, according to the Associated Press. U.S. Department of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Tuesday that Travis King willfully and without authorization crossed into North Korea. The UN command issued a similar statement. A U.S. national on a JSA orientation tour crossed without authorization into the military demarcation line into the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The UN command said, "We believe he is currently in DPRK custody and are working with our KPA, Korean People Army counterparts to resolve the incident." A North Korean news outlet published a report pointing to a social media post from someone who claimed to have been on the same tour as Travis King when he crossed into the rogue country. The post said Travis King was laughing as he crossed into North Korea, whose media services have long been questioned for their accuracy. NK News reported in a Facebook post, Michaela Johansson of Sweden wrote that she was on the same tour and that one of the male guests dashed across the MDL when her group visited the Joint Security Area. To our right, we hear a loud ha 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 ha, and one guy from our group that had been with us all day runs in between 2 of the buildings and over to the other side, she wrote. It took everybody a second to react and grasp what actually happened. Then we were ordered into and through Freedom House and running back into our military bus. Johansson said authorities at the JSA asked visitors not to share pictures of the incident. Travis King had passed through airport security as he was being sent home from South Korea for disciplinary reasons before he left to join the tour of the North Korean border, the Independent reported. It remains unclear how Travis King was able to just leave the airport and join the tour group without being noticed. Typically, if anybody crosses the line, it's been North Koreans defecting to the South in an effort to flee the ruthless government of the leader Kim, who has long been accused of human rights violations. According to the U.S. Department of State, there's a travel ban for Americans entering North Korea. Do not travel to North Korea due to the continuing serious risk of arrest and long-term detention of U.S. nationals. The State Department says on its website, exercise increased caution to North Korea due to critical threat of wrongful detention. So yeah, I don't know what was up with this guy. I don't even know this whole situation. He was over there. He had assault charges over there in South Korea. He ends up getting arrested. He's over there. South Korea's holding him. Then he just he's just walking the countryside or something like that. He just walking the countryside and goes over to North Korea. This whole situation, I don't know exactly. I wonder if North Korea is going to actually keep this dude over there for any time for any length of time. I'm sure they're going to probably go ahead and try to find out exactly what he's holding, what kind of information he has as well too. So not exactly, unless you're Dennis Rodman. I don't know how many black people North Korea is just going to openly welcome to come over there, let alone an actual somebody in the actual U.S. Army as well too. So just a very, very strange situation that we have right here. I don't know exactly what's going on, but very, very strange to say the least. I know we got some of our people up in here. Ray, I know you was up in the service as well too. Carlos, I know you was up in the service. So if any of you guys that was in actual service, if you could actually come up here and you get a chance to actually speak on this actual article here about this whole situation with old boy, just because we know South Korea is an actual ally of America. The South Koreans have him arrested. He's supposed to be going back to the States for the face disciplinary actions. He ends up somehow in North Korea. So I mean, just a very ridiculous situation. My man's only 23 years of age. He's young or whatever. So I don't really know exactly what's going to go on, what's going to happen with this situation right here. Just very, very bizarre. And like I said, one of the last places on earth that you want to be at, especially as a black man. I don't know if you really want to be in a country like North Korea. I may take China and some of these other Asian countries are not exactly particularly fun to black people as well too, but being over there in North Korea, that's a no-no. Yeah, go ahead, Vara.
You say it's a brother?
Yeah, black dude. Yeah, black dude. Young black dude, 23 years of age. Yeah. He say, your boy Lyle Patchy said something. He might be related to Carly Russell. Come on, guys. It's too soon for that now. It's too soon for the Carly Russell stuff now. My man Dusty, what's up? What's up? Nat Dusty Pookie says, I was in for 22 years. Same MOS as King, and he'll never come home. He's stuck for life. Like, the North Koreans ain't gonna let him come home, man. Like I said, we got a couple proud veterans up in the actual space as well too. So if you guys actually want to get a chance to come up here and speak on this, man, let me know. Let me try and see Minister Ali. Are we having any success yet, Minister Ali?
I'm sorry, Newstoter. Unfortunately, I am trying it with two phones, but we're in Youngstown right now. We have a rally scheduled for Friday at 1 o'clock here in support of the liberation of Chaz Bunch, and my secondary device keeps logging me out of Twitter Space. So I don't know if it is the Wi-Fi here, if it's this device, but unfortunately I can't seem to get both of us logged on at the same time. So I did post some information in the space, and we definitely appreciate the fact that you are willing to have Chaz on Live and Living Color, because he can tell the story better, best himself, and we definitely don't have anything to hide, nor anything that we won't speak about when it comes to his case. And if you go to Facebook, he does have a Facebook page, Free Chaz Bunch, and like I said, we are in Youngstown, Ohio right now, and Friday we do have a rally for the liberation of Chaz Bunch. So if we can, possibly reschedule with you before August the 3rd, that would be great. If not, I just want you to know that we definitely appreciate your willingness to have his voice be heard.
Absolutely, I understand. I know it's not the easiest thing to actually set up as well too. DJ, one of our technical people, he's not up in the space tonight either, so he may have been able to assist you a little bit more as well too. So I'm definitely sorry about that. I definitely wanted to hear what the brother had to say as well too. Like I say, his cases, the new trial is coming up August the 3rd and everything else. And you said you guys have a rally that's planned as well too.
Yes, we have a freedom rally planned for Chaz on this coming Friday from 1 until 4 p.m. And this is actually our fifth one because, Chaz really did his due diligence, even though he was only 16 years old when he was unfortunately prosecuted for a crime he did not commit. He did the best that he could with, fighting a very adult system. And
Once I learned about his case, I'm with the National Freedom and Justice Movement, and once I learned about his case, I mean, this is the fifth rally that we've had for him, and had it not been for the fact that we kept his face and his voice and his story out there, he would have never had his voice heard. You also can go look at Kids Behind Bars, where the person that actually was convicted with DNA evidence, Brandon Moore, has had the opportunity to a certain extent, have his side of the story told. But nobody's ever talked to Chaz. Nobody's ever asked Chaz, exactly what happened. And I mean, there's nothing you can do with the fact that there's no DNA evidence, no hair, no fingerprints, no semen, of course, no marks on Chaz, no nothing. And so he's completely excluded from having to have committed this crime. He just took a ride from the wrong people and got caught up. And unfortunately, he was only 16 years old, and there's only so much a 16-year-old can do with a system that's been around for generations. So we're Team Chaz Bunch. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep standing up and keep having his voice heard, his side of the story told, until he's free to come home to his friends and family.
Okay, thank you. And I was going to say this. I'm going to ask you this real quick. Have you guys have any success? Because I know, like, you got the local newspapers and people, local media up there. Have you guys had any success getting this into the national level, getting some of the major newspapers and outlets to actually pick up this story up, Minister Ali?
Not as of yet. We definitely have been trying, especially with Rashad Ritchie, because he has not only media experience, but he has some legal experience as well. So we tried to reach out to the Young Turks, just any and everybody who we thought would possibly listen. We put Chaz's story out there, and like I said, this is the fifth rally, and I've been supporting his case for 6 years now. And so, yeah, I mean, if there's anyone out there, they always say that there's 6 degrees of separation between you and anybody that you're trying to reach. And if anybody is out there that can help, please reach out to me. I'm Queen Tahira with the National Freedom and Justice Movement. I'm on Facebook and social media as well. I don't have a hesitancy with giving out my contact information. I do live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Drove up today, again for the fifth rally to liberate Chaz Bunch. And we're gonna be boots on the ground Friday, and we've been very, very successful. And finally, unfortunately, Chaz was convicted due to local media placing his picture in the paper, and he was not identified as one of the culprits until after a repeated interrogation of the victim by the prosecutor's office here in Youngstown. And, all of a sudden, he became the fourth suspect. So, I mean, there's a lot to be told with this story, and it would have been nice to have Chaz on to tell his side of the story. But, anybody and everybody can Google Free Chaz Bunch, and a lot of information will come up. And like I said, we're going to be boots on the ground here in Youngstown, Ohio, this coming Friday, the 21st, from 1 until 4 p.m., in front of the courthouse, in front of the municipal center, where Chaz is now awaiting his evidentiary hearing on August the 3rd. It's our plan and our goal, and we're putting pressure even on the attorney that he has working with his case to let Chaz go. I mean, he's been incarcerated since 2001. He was 16 years old. There's no DNA evidence that he ever committed a crime. And they did not have what they call a eyewitness professional come in and testify that sometimes even, when we play telephone, for instance, by the time the story gets around to the third or fourth person, there are a lot of things that are not construed or told exactly the way that the original story was told. And we do believe that the victim in this case was coerced by the prosecutor's office to identify Chaz. And, by the fact that he was with the people who actually did commit the crime, He just unfortunately took a ride from the wrong individuals and now has been incarcerated since 2001, since the age of 16. So, we're doing everything that we possibly can to, again, make sure that we get his story told, make sure that we represent his side, because that has never happened. And not until this last rally in 2021, the last rally we had, finally the local media told, there's no DNA evidence that ties Chaz to this case. And even the Supreme Court in December of 2022 said themselves, he did not have the proper representation. His attorney did not argue his case correctly. And even Chaz, and even though he was very young, he did file paperwork that says, there's no evidence that ties me to this case. I deserve to have my side of the story told. But again, we're talking about a system that is used to treating especially Black males a certain way, and they just railroaded him. And unfortunately, it has cost him, the past 22 years of his life. So we're not going to stop until Chaz is free, until Chaz is able to come home, until we have the liberation of Chaz Bunch.
All right, thank you, Minister Ali. Do you guys anticipate a pretty decent sized crowd up there? Do you expect maybe about 40, 50 people or more up there?
Yes, every time we have a rally, it gets bigger and bigger. The first one we had, it was myself, his daughter, his aunt, and a few of the people that he went to school with. We had a small crowd, but we made a lot of noise. And the last rally that we had over 60 people. That were friends and family and just people that had heard about his case. And if you go search the state versus Bunch and look up the Supreme Court's ruling from December of 2022, you see it's a 27-page document. It's a lot to read, but it's definitely worth the reading. But if you look at the last few pages, you'll see how many people are saying, yeah, this was a bad case. And this brother deserves to, have an evidentiary hearing and potentially come on home.
All right. Thank you, sister. I wish we could have got the brother up here, but I understand the technical side and everything like that as well, too. So we can try to coordinate something again and get him up here. I definitely, like I said, I wanted the space to hear him. I wanted him to get a chance to go ahead and tell his side of the story as well. I'm going to see if I can reach out to the real Dana. Have you tried the real Dana that does a lot of times she has Judge Joe Brown on her YouTube podcast. Dana has a really good size a really good size YouTube following. I think she has over 60,000 subscribers on YouTube. So definitely I'm going to reach out to Dana about this actual story as well too. Have you ever spoke to Dana?
No, I have not. Let me see if I can bring Chaz in real quick. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, guys, we were definitely trying to get Chaz up in the space as well too. I wanted to go ahead for the brother to go ahead, like I say, and tell his side of the story as well. Oh. We may be able to get him. Okay, we're gonna get him.
Greetings, Chaz. Peace. They can hear you. I know we don't have a lot of time left. Newstoter, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear you, Chaz. Can you hear me? This is Newstoter right here. How you doing, Chaz? Yes, sir. I'm glad that we were able to get you on here. I don't know how much time you got, but we got a few people up in the space. I wish the space was a little bit bigger than what we normally have, but we have a smaller space tonight. But you can still nonetheless go ahead and tell your story if you'd like to.
Oh, well, basically, my name is Chaz Bunch, originally from Washington, D.C., but I caught my case in Youngstown, Ohio. At the age of 16 years old, I was given 115 years for a wrong kidnapping and rape of a white woman that I didn't commit. That appealed it in 89 years. I appealed it due to Senate Bill 263. I said this sentence of juvenile to life on the home, considered cruel and unusual punishment. So my case ultimately got overturned, sentence was thrown out, and they sentenced me to another 49 years. Unfortunately, for my case was, racially politically motivated, so it was basically like a modern day lynching. Despite the DNA and fingerprints proving the crime, I was still subsequently, convicted at trial, despite, saying that evidence proven otherwise. Since that time, the Ohio Supreme Court have shut my case back down due to the post conviction and basically telling the lower court to address my independent assistant trial counsel claim. So we currently here gearing up this Friday to have a round of support for my freedom and just basically trying to put pressure on the local dignitaries instead of free me and do the right thing to get my freedom back.
Okay. And your trial starts August the 3rd, right?
There's an evidentiary hearing is August 3rd. That ruling came down from the Ohio Supreme Court, basically mandating the local Court of Appeals and the Common Pleas Court here in Youngstown, Ohio, the only county Common Pleas Court to get the evidentiary hearing on the ineffectiveness of the trial counsel claim. Basically, I don't know if you got access to the Ohio Supreme Court ruling, where the ruling they basically chastised the lower courts because basically what they was doing when they get my case, instead of looking at the facts and the evidence in my case, they was just basically understanding it and what they're looking at it, and they basically chastised it.
And I'm definitely wishing the best for you in this trial here. I know you counting the days down as well too, brother Mocha. What's going on? I see you over there on YouTube. I'm definitely we're definitely holding our hope and that you get a fair trial this time. We know before it wasn't a fair trial, so we're definitely holding our hope that you can get a fair trial. I'm sure that you have like you said, there was none of your actual DNA or any physical evidence left at the actual scene of the crime. So, and from what Minister Ali said too, they could not. It wasn't until the actual local media started putting your actual picture up in the newspaper that the actual victim actually identified you as one of the perpetrators. So, I know there's a lot of facts in your way that you can use as a way of pointing to of actually showing the people and stuff in the actual trial that, hey, I wasn't there at the scene of the actual crime, and like you say, that you were basically a victim of not from what you're saying, a victim of actually just getting a ride with somebody that night.
So basically, if I knew everybody that was involved in the crime, so after they committed the crime, they came to pick me up. So once I got in the car, they did not make mention of the crime they committed. So when I went coming back from the gas station, got behind me, what I'm saying? So I was running and I was on probation at the time, so I was saying for a convict violation. So the court had the investigation proceed, what I'm saying? Then I've been in trouble before, so it's like a little, like small heat town, like it's really like it was mom land, so everybody knows everybody, so the police department here had it out for me. So at the beginning that it was an article, that was placed, prior to this case where the detective that investigated the case was a black woman, and that she began to investigate the case, prosecutors and detectives came running out to her office as she was interviewing the victim to try to change the narrative of the event and the truth of what transpired. So basically what they did was, I can't prove when you look at that article, it gives you an idea of how the investigation, changed and how it became a crime suspect. The victim initially identified everybody that was involved in the crime. When it came to her picture, she said that's not the person who raped me. However, in the time before, when
Yes, sir. And I know you've been in there since you was 16. Now, Chaz, how old are you right now? Because you've been in there since you was 16. How old are you at right now?
I'm currently 38. I'll be 39 in October.
You say you'll be 39 in October?
Yes, I'm currently 38 right now.
Okay. So yeah, you've been in there over 20 some odd years. Yeah, you know, you pretty much have grown up in the actual system as well too. You missed out on I know you missed out on so many milestones. I know you have kids and a mother and family members and everything like that. I know you've had death in your family and everything else as well too.
Yeah. It's a devastating, situation, when you're in prison and, everybody that fights for your loved one, your father, your mother, my grandparents, my grandfather, people have been supporting you over time, they all, have passed away, and, being out of my children's life was kind of hard, covering daughter and son in this type of situation because the environment, subsequent in the same direction. So I don't wish this on my worst enemy. And like I try to explain to people, it's just not, something to do because you're in prison and trying to maintain a level in, but you're in a vicious and negative environment. So to try to maintain and be sane in an uninsane environment is really hard to do it. I'm just blessed and thankful that due to the support of the love I have and, people's holidays, navigate this system and, be here today to, explain my situation, tell my story to people.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you coming here. I know we spoke last week. I wish you could have got you on a little bit earlier as well too. And I know it's not the easiest thing in the situation you are. So nonetheless, I was glad that you actually came on here and spoke to the people. I wish everybody could hear you a little bit louder and whatnot, but we have to go ahead and do what we can do. So I wish and I wish we had more people up in the space as well too. The space is kind of small space tonight. So I definitely wanted more people to actually hit us. I let everybody know yesterday we had a smaller space yesterday, but it was bigger than this space here. So I wish we had more people in the actual space so they could actually hear your story and hear exactly what you've been through, what you're going through, and everything else, and your upcoming legal fight that you have coming up in August as well too. Now, and I know time is running short, so let me ask you this: if in August coming up, if you are able, if you're victorious there, would they go ahead and release you then?
Well, first, one can hear.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're a little bit low. You've been low, but yeah, we can hear you. We're gonna make it out. So go ahead.
Oh man, my bad. Okay, so in August, once the judge, make the ruling, we have to defend my lawyers to defend our argument to the judge. It is up to the judge to render the decision. Once you render the decision, then my case gets, thrown out. I'll be eligible for a new trial. Once I get a new trial, I can go bond and fight my case, from the street. My current legal team told me that the prosecutors for this day, with the judge, in fact, ruled in my favor, and they're not going to want to go to trial again. So I'll be able to be with because of the evidence and things I know and everything that's being exposed, there's no way they can present the case to a jury about hearing and getting a guilty verdict. It's impossible.
So just so I'm clear on this, you'd have to win this coming up, and then you would actually get a chance for actual another trial.
Yes. The judge has to rule that my lawyer was ineffective. Once the judge ruled that my lawyer was ineffective, then I'll be granted a new trial.
But yeah, brother, I think we definitely need to try to go ahead and get you as much media coverage as possible. Like I say, I'm gonna reach out to Dana. I know she has a pretty busy schedule or whatever, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass this story. Minister Ali, I know you sent me. If you could send me the actual article that you originally sent me back a few months ago that we went ahead and because I had it on the website, but after 3-4 months, we go ahead and we because we have so many articles on there, we have to go ahead and flush them But send me that article again, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll hit Dana up, and just so Dana can actually review it and actually see exactly like that as well too. Because like I say, she could potentially have you on her actual and I don't want to put words in her mouth because she's not here, but she's been known to have people, sometimes right out of this space, Aunt Lie and a couple other people, and have them on her actual platform as well too. And like I said, her platform she has over 60 some thousand YouTube subscribers. She has Judge Joe Brown on there sometimes as well. So her platform is much larger than mine. I'm still under 1,000 subscribers, so her platform is much bigger than mine, and you definitely it definitely would help to be on there if that's something that may interest the two of you guys.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we appreciate your help, Newstoter. And like I said, just by the fact that you were so welcoming to have us come on, not really knowing anything originally about the case and the way it happened. He's got 1 minute left. Chaz, you got anything you want to say before you go?
All right, Chaz. Well, you take care, bro. Keep your head up and keep the fight going. And definitely, I will. And Minister Ali, she'll keep us posted on everything that's going on as well too. And we'll continue to go ahead and try to get your story out there as much as possible as well too. So definitely keep your head up. And thank you for coming to the space tonight. Problem. Thank you, Minister Ali, as well too. Thank you for bringing the brother. I know it wasn't the easiest thing with the communication and everything, but thank you, Minister Ali.
That was a miracle. That was a miracle because I've been trying since you came on the air, and we just thought the best we can to try to help Chaz. He's lost his mom. His grandmother passed away. His dad is on dialysis. He's got a daughter out here. And her mom is deceased. So we need to bring Chaz home. I mean, we talk about second chances for people, but Chaz hasn't had a first chance, and we just been working so hard. And so I appreciate you, Newstoter. I really do. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you, sister. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to move this to a bigger platform. I wish that the Newstoter platform was much larger as well too, so we could go ahead and get this out there. But one good thing about setting up contacts and stuff like that on social media as well too is that we have some of our people that do have larger platforms, so we'll definitely go ahead and try to get this story out there as much as possible. And just try to go ahead and get it out there, and just keep tagging me in things as well too, and we'll definitely go ahead and try to get this story out there as much as we can. So shout out to you and shout out to Chaz. Tell him to definitely keep fighting and keep his head up as well too, guys. Like I said, I wish the space, this has been like one of the smallest spaces I've had, and I don't know, like this has been one of the smallest spaces we've ever had, like in a long.
Whoever showed up is who was supposed to be here.
Yes, ma'am.
So, as I told you, like our first rally, like it was just a few of us, but we had a really good turnout in 2021, and we're anticipating an even bigger turnout on Friday. So, again, thank you, and I'm gonna get that article to you into your inbox, and we're gonna keep fighting.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll go ahead and I'll send that to Dana. I'll hit Dana up about the actual story as well too, and see if we can get you on the actual platform so you can go ahead and you can advocate for the brother as well too. So we can definitely like I said, I know he still has an uphill battle and he has to go ahead and win this first legal battle to even get a chance for another battle. So we're hoping that with the evidence and everything that he presents and that his lawyers present and everything that he'll at least get him at least a fair day in court. That's at least that what we're hoping, that he'll at least get him a fair day in court as well too. So Definitely
right.
shout out to you, sister. So thank you once again for hitting me up and letting me know about this situation, and definitely staying in touch with me as well too. So thank you, Minister Ali.
Thank you as well. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, thank you, sister.
All
Yes,
right.
guys, that's Chaz Bunch. Chaz has he has a evidence, almost like a evidence type trial coming up as well. So he's got to go ahead and win that so he can get a chance to go ahead and get him a retrial as well too, guys. I know it was kind of hard to hear because she had to use her phone to get him on there, and she's in the Twitter space, so I know the reception wasn't quite what everybody wanted, but we was trying to make the best out of that we could. So shout out to him, shout out to him, shout out to you guys that came up in the space tonight too. Real quick, I want to touch up on this final article as well, guys. I'm gonna touch up on this final article. I don't know if y'all know about this country singer named Jason Aldean. Jason Aldean. Well, apparently he's been going viral. He has this song out, and it's drawing the ire of a lot of people. The song is bad when country music, when the CMA and everybody, they got to go ahead and pull it from the actual lyrics, that it has the undertones to it as well too. So let me go ahead and touch up on that real quick. Shout out to my people on YouTube as well. Like I said, we're gonna reach out to Dana, and hopefully Dana can get Minister Ali on the platform, and they can go ahead and coordinate something as well too. So real quick, guys, and we probably won't be in this space too much longer, but let me go ahead and start it up. Jason Aldean defends new music video for song with lynch happy undertones. This is from News One, also curator Newstoter.com platform. White conservatives are currently throwing a hissy fit on Twitter now that country music television has pulled a controversial song and video by country music singer Jason Aldean titled "Try That in a Small Town." In case you're unfamiliar with the video, it has been criticized as low-key racist because that's pretty much what will happen when a white man sings the lyrics, "Got a gun that my granddad gave me." They say one day they're going to round up. That shit may fly in the city. Good luck trying that in a small town over what appears to be an anti-police violence protest turned riot footage. Oh, and it probably doesn't help that the whole thing was filmed outside of Maury County Courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee, where in 1927 a white lynch mob dragged 18-year-old black man Henry Cote through the streets behind a car before hanging him through the courthouse window. Aldean was at least smart enough to give himself a plausible racism deniability, at least in his own mind, by not explicitly mentioning Black Lives Matter in the song or showing any BML banners in the video. It is just very pro-cop song and pro-American flag video that is clearly meant to depict what white people think that BLM riots, with no clear reference to the January 6th Capitol riot or the deadly Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, the violent riots attended by plenty of people from small towns. The lynch happy undertones in the song and video were obvious to anyone who is an MAGA cultist who also doesn't think Donald Trump is a racist, despite the volumes upon volumes of evidence that say otherwise. So it's no surprise that Aldean defended his work against anyone who could hear his dog whistling loud and clear. In the past 24 hours, I've been accused of releasing a pro-lynching song, a song that has been out since May and was a subject to the comparison that I, Direct Coat, was not pleased with the nationwide BLM protests. These references are not only meritless but dangerous, Aldean wrote in a social media post. There's not a single lyric in the song that references race or points to it, and there isn't a single video clip that isn't real news footage. And while I can try and respect others to have their own interpretation of a song with music, this one goes too far. As so many pointed out, I was present at Route 91, where so many lost their lives, and our community recently suffered another heartbreaking tragedy. No one, including me, wants to continue seeing these senseless headlines of families ripped apart. Funny enough, Aldean didn't include a reference to that time he wore blackface for Halloween. Perhaps it was an attempt at drawing attention away from the idea that his video was full of vile BLM condemnation by mentoring the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas, which he headlined in 2017. The night a mass shooter killed 58 people and injured more than 850. The shooting was carried out by a 64-year-old white man, Stephen Paddock, who was from small town of Clinton, Iowa. It's interesting that they didn't appear to be a single reference to the massacre in this song. Anyway, white people on Twitter appear to be almost as angry about CMT's decision to pull the video as they were when Beyonce performed Daddy's Lesson at the Country Music Awards. They're almost as pissed off as the racists were when there were a lot of black artists at the CMAs last year. They're almost as upset as country music star Morgan Wallen was when he was shown in the video calling his black neighbors the N word. So, yeah. You know how the country music folks, like I say, a lot of white folks. I saw some of those posts today, and they was straight up defending it. They was talking about the cancel culture. They was talking about that this guy was, he was being railroaded. It was the liberals. It was a wokeism. It was this and that or whatever. Dog whistles was being whistled, and sometimes dog whistles only a dog could hear it or whatever. So he was putting out his little content. He had to say what he wanted to say or whatever. And it's funny, like they said, well, all those examples when you start talking about Beyonce when she was she was singing those songs and the black people at the Country Music Awards, how them white folks got upset. See, there's a difference between white folks and black folks. Black folks will sit up here and say hip hop is everybody's culture. And I've said this in numerous spaces before. Go to one of these metal concerts, go to one of these metal rock award shows, or go heavy metal, any of it. Go to the Country Music Awards and sit up here and tell these people that everything, this is all our music. This is the culture. And see if you don't get ran up out of there. Only one group of people on earth believe that everything is the culture for everybody that they create, and that's only Black Americans. So, shout out to people that's up here actually starting to gatekeep their culture as well too. Something that should have been done, because like I said, you can't go ahead and you can't take other people's cultures without them saying something. Go over to Jamaica and sit up here and say that reggae is Black American, just as Black American as it is Jamaican, and see if you don't get a foot up your ass in that island. Only place in the world that you can sit here and say that everything is black is something that Black Americans create. And Black Americans, to a certain degree, they're the ones that actually push that stuff as well. You can welcome everybody, but you still need to be able to say, yeah, we welcome everybody. Everybody's free to listen. Everybody's free to come out and participate in this and that. But when it comes time to start checking those references and start talking about who's the creator of something, you need to go ahead and identify as is yours. Let people know that this is ours. Same way the good old boys would do at the country award music. You come there sitting up there, Charlie Pride, he used to sing, he won all kind of awards and this and that, but they'll never tell you that Charlie Pride was one of the creators or one of the innovators or even one of the all-time. Charlie Pride had a certain category. Charlie Pride is a black guy, for those that don't know, but Charlie Pride would never be considered, the bell cow of country music. It just ain't gonna happen. So you got to go ahead and start gatekeeping and everything else as well too, man. And like I said, my man here, he's been getting drugged left and right. He's another one that wears blackface. Is always the ones with the black. Oh, I wore blackface, but I ain't racist. Okay, you just put on the blackface because you just like the way that makeup feels on your face. It just opens up your pores so much, allows your skin to breathe. Come on, man, stop it. Stop it. Hero, I saw you came up here. You want to go ahead and say something?
Hey, yo, you spitting, sir. You spitting the gospel. Black Americans created hip hop. We gotta Black people define the culture.
Absolutely. And like I say, man, I don't knock that anybody contributed to hip hop and stuff like that. I don't say, well, you didn't contribute. You contributed. It's a difference between contributing and actually creating. Then that's my main thing. You can make contributions or something, but that contributions don't mean that you are the originator or the creator of it. Guys, I know we.
And I would venture to say that in my experience and in my studies, the way that hip hop culture eventually grew into a hip hop industry, it was white folks who perpetuated the notion that hip hop is an exclusive culture. Like hip hop is everyone. And I'm just like, y'all, who said that we should feel that way? That Black people should be like, I feel like we got gassed into allowing that, but Black people wasn't the ones perpetuating that originally. It was like white execs and mainstream media, and when hip hop started becoming, more and more popular, more and more lucrative.
Well, that too, and you saw Hispanics like Fat Joe sitting up here saying that as well too. Like You know,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm welcome in the Bronx. He blocked me because he was like, yo, it's 50-50. You know, we 50-50 black people and 50-50 Latino, and I was just like 50-50.
He blocked me too. So Joe, he blocked me last year sometime too as well. I think we had a space on that, and he must have saw that space, got wind of it. But yeah, he's blocked me for damn near close to a year as well too. So yeah, join the club or whatever. Like I say now, if you was to sit up here and say that salsa music was influenced by Black Americans and this and that or whatever, and you start sitting up here saying all this was influenced by, everybody would have a hissy fit. So whenever black people, and it's something that black people have to come off. They've been with that kumbaya stuff. People see it, and you can't really fault other groups. They see like, hey, man, they weak. They'll sit up here and they'll let anybody come through the front door. Like, yeah, they'll open the front. When they open it, let's just bum rush it. Let's just knock it open. They'll let anybody come up here. So people see it, and they like, hey, I want some of that as well too. So blame the black folks for that one.
Well, one thing I do like to point out though is when hip hop was being created, just like every other aspect of mainstream American society, black people didn't own or control anything. So we didn't have a say over how the labels were going to, present our art to the world, and not have a say. We didn't have control over that. You know what I mean? So it's just like mainstream music industry has been in the hands of non-black people since the beginning. So
real talk. Original, what's going on tonight? How you doing, Original?
Hey, peace, black power, and reparation. So the brother, you say he has another court hearing.
Yeah, he has one August the 3rd coming up.
August the 3rd, okay. Yeah, just a good song. This is why when I come in contact with some young people, I asked them about, what do you think about, becoming a lawyer? There was one little guy I worked with when I had this part-time job, and he said that's what he was going to major in. And so I had access to these books, whereby some of the books were legal books. There was one book came in on tort law and criminal law, and several different books. And what I would do is, because this was somebody where they scan these books into different formats. I said, well, do you mind if I take some of those books? I said, no, go ahead and take them. So I said, okay, here we go. And so this little brother, he was like, man, he said, he said, why are you doing this? I said, well, you told me that you was going to major in criminal justice, and I hope you go ahead and you become an attorney. I said, but see, if you get these books now, you start reading them, you will be well ahead of your classmates when you have to take one of these classes. He said, well, look, I just want to say thank you. He said, I said, you are more than welcome. And I said, if I get some more, I was scared. So what I would do was scan them into PDFs and put them on a flash drive and give it to them. And so these are some of the things that we can do when we come in contact with young people. I mean, ask them what they're into, see what they're doing, because we need more people who will be attorneys. Because I think I mentioned this, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, when she was trying to these old small hats that bought a house next to hers or behind hers, and they were creating all this noise and stuff, trying to run her out of her house. And so she hired some black attorneys, and they just took her money, and then she ended up having to hire a small hat attorney to sue some small hats, and that was just so sad. And but this is why we need community attorneys, someone that's going to get in there and fight, and when they come out of law school, and we have to pull together and buy them a law library, or whether it be a digital or a physical law library. That's something that we can do to make sure that when our people get jammed up by this system, they have someone that can stand up and fight for them. That's not going to be a punk and roll over and let the system do whatever they want. Let the system do whatever they want to do to them. So I just want to put that out there. Is that I'm sorry, who is that?
No, you got it. Go ahead.
I just want to you're talking about this, you mentioned salsa, Newstoter.
Oh yeah.
The queen of salsa is a black woman, Celia Cruz. So she comes from Cuba, but she's the queen. She is the queen of salsa. So all these people, and see when if you dig deep enough, and there was this one group that came out of Cuba back in the 90s, Buena Vista Social Club. It was a group of black musicians. So what they think they have is there. It came from black Spanish-speaking people. That's what I mean. So they don't have anything that's there. So you look at, let's see, Celia Cruz, the queen of salsa. Tina Turner, the queen of rock. Aretha Franklin, the queen of soul. Donna Summer, the queen of disco. So what do you? I mean, this is so laughable when these people stand up and say that they created something when they did not. So I just want to say, they talk all this stuff, but Sloppy Joe, they can't prove it. They just got invited to a few things, and someone let them in. But see, and I will say this, Newstoter. See, you start seeing a lot of these so-called hip-hop rap artists, they are to blame for this. Because, see, some of them was in these interviews, and they started saying, oh, yeah, hip-hop's for everybody. See, some of that came from them. And they do that because they want to continue to be relevant. Just like you just had LL Cool J. About a week or so ago, he started talking about hip-hop was created because, he has an immigrant background. And so he started saying hip-hop was created by, black and these Spanish-speaking white folks. No, it wasn't. It was created by black folks.
Wait, you saying LL has isn't LL a black American?
No. He has a Caribbean background. His parents are back from the Bahamas or Bermuda or something like that. Yeah, he's not one of us.
Nah, I never knew. I'm gonna be honest, I never knew that.
One of the things. So I understand your point, original, and I definitely hear what you're saying. I definitely agree with everything you were saying about everything you said before the LL point. But I just wanted to make one point that ties into what Newstoter was saying earlier about. Damn, hold on, I lost my train of thought. Y'all go ahead.
Okay. Well, one more. I think it's who was that? I think it's Coco Taylor. I think she was considered like I know at least one of the queen of blues. So you see all these music genres that came from us. It's the black folks, and see you had like what's his name? Albert King. This was like back in like maybe the late 70s, early 80s. And Albert King, I think he come out of Texas. But I think Texas, maybe Texas, Arkansas. But anyway, so they had like a guitar playing session, and Albert King beat this white boy hands down. But whatever this white boy was, the white boy was out of Texas. They claimed that he played better than Albert King. I'm like, forgive me, Beret. So that's what these people have always done. They've never been able to create anything on their own, and they always come to us. And see, now they're running scared because they see that we are waking up. More of us are waking up, and we're just not putting up with the foolishness any longer. And so they're trying to figure out how can we get these people to go back to sleep and just walk in their sleep and create this stuff, and we take credit for it. We're not doing it any longer because it's ours. And so go ahead.
I remember what I was going to say that was tying y'all two points together. Newstoter, you pointed out earlier that some rappers were partly to blame because they would because the executives would say, oh yeah, this is inclusive culture and this is for everybody. And then original, you made a similar point, but like we got to remember, Like, I don't think we should ever direct the ire towards other black people to a higher level than the white people or the colonizers, because or excuse them for taking advantage. Because like Newstoter, you mentioned like, oh, you can't blame them because black people, black Americans just gave it away. Like, I think you can still blame the oppressor for taking advantage of a weakness or inability of black Americans to protect what they create. Like, you can still blame the oppressor and prioritize combating, the colonizer over criticizing like other black Americans for giving away, but we're not for giving away, for not having the ability to protect what we own or what we should own. Because we just born into systemic oppression, into poverty most of the time, and not most of the time, but a lot of the time, especially when hip hop was being created, and we didn't own anything. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was gonna happen. The music industry was gonna take hip hop and profit off of it and leave black people out of it for the most part. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm gonna say this right here, Hero. Yeah, they had destruction, everything else like that. I'm saying even with destruction, everything else, because they had the record labels, they got the radio stations, they got the televisions. So I get what you're saying on that, but I'm saying black people themselves still could have went ahead and still made it be known that, hey, this is our creation. This is something that we created. This is just an extension of jazz. This is an extension of, because at one time black people used to say that, like they could have said this is an extension of, hold on real quick, they could say that's an extension of jazz, of blues, of soul music, of R&B, and this and that. Like, this is all of the stuff that we created. But after a while, the rappers themselves, because I started hearing that. In the 90s, you wasn't hearing all of that. But then it started towards the late 90s, I started hearing a little bit like, well, hip hop was created in the Bronx by blacks and Hispanics and this and that or whatever. And then it just kept going on and on and on. Black people themselves, look, you have the most extensive music history in modern times. Nobody can compare to it. Yeah. So nobody can sit up here and compare to it. So when you start sitting up here going along with this stuff, saying, well, you know what? Yeah, it's everybody's music. It's everybody this and everybody. Well, we all. It's like the same thing when every time you start hearing black people talk about their rights in this country, you start hearing people talk about, well, everybody being discriminated against, or everybody, like, black people are the main ones. They've been doing this since the 60s. Certain genres of music people can't claim. Like, nobody can sit up here, and you'll occasionally hear somebody from Africa talk, well, gospel music or blues actually comes from the drums in the Congo and this and that. So okay, they'll go always and try to find a way to, like, well, this is actually from Africa, and you can hear the tongues and this and that. So you're gonna always have that aspect. But for the most part, the world couldn't sit up here and say, you know what? We gave y'all blues and we gave y'all jazz, and we gave you gospel music and this and that. We gave you soul. But with hip hop, it's a little bit easier to do hip hop because, like I said, you're not actually, hip hop ain't the same as like belting out actual choruses and everything else. It's a little bit different singing and actually rapping and stuff like that. Hip hop is actually a little bit easier to go ahead and do than some of these other things. Like, it's easier, and that's not to take anything away. It's easier to sound like Queen Latifah or to rap like Queen Latifah than it is to actually sing like Natalie Cole or Aretha Franklin. It is like, yeah, you can actually get somebody to write for you, and all you gotta do is go up there and recite it and stuff like that, and boom, you can have a hit. Because there's a bunch of ghostwriters in hip hop. You can get somebody to write for you a song. Hell, Whitney Houston, most of her hits, she didn't actually write. But how many people can actually get up there? Yeah, I can write something for Whitney Houston, but could I get up there and sing it like her? Hell no. So that's the difference. Like, you can't imitate certain things. You just can't imitate. You can't imitate Barry White, or you can't imitate Curtis Mayfield. You can't imitate some of the legends that we have and stuff like that. So it's easy to go ahead and sound closer to some of these other musical genres or rap than it is these other musical genres. Like, you're not going to get up there and imitate Luther Vandross. Either you can sing or you can't, like I say, but you can go ahead and you can write, because Dr. Dre had all kind of ghostwriters in his career. And Dr. Dre, yeah, so you got all kind of people ghostwriting for people and stuff like that. And yeah, we got a bunch of people that write for these actual singers and stuff. Every singer, like some of our biggest singers, they didn't write every song or whatever. You had writers and stuff like that. But being able to write and being able to get up there and actually blow are two totally different things as well. So it was easier because look, you got people over there talking the K-pop, and you got damn music over there in the Middle East. You got music in all of this stuff is like branches of rap music and stuff that then went global. Yeah, but you don't. Where's the comparison to the R&B and the soul music and the gospel? Why isn't that branching up over there in Asia and South America and all over? Because you can't, because it's not easy to duplicate that. It's just straight up. You can't just copy that. You got to actually know what I'm saying. You got to be able to blow. And and they can't blow like these other people. So that's how it is a little bit. It's easy to go ahead and steal hip hop, and that's what people did. They went ahead and they started stealing and taking hip hop and stuff like that as well too. So it became an easy art form to copy, and people just started copying it. And this redneck sitting up here singing Jason Aldean sitting up here singing his country music with his little dog whistles about protecting theirs and small town and this and that. Hell, if you want to be serious, country music is also a branch of black music as well, too. So none of this, there is no American music without black music, straight up. All of this stuff that they claim and stuff is all come from the black music family tree. What's up, Brooke? What's up? Go ahead, Brooke. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Newstoter. Hey, family. Hey, everybody. I had to calm down from the YouTube because I love this conversation, and there are so many great things and so many great points, but we keep saying black people, and we're not differentiating between the diaspora, who I think are the real people that Newstoter you were looking at in the 90s, who began to say, that hip hop is for everybody. They began to include the Latinos in creating hip hop. I believe those were the diaspora people who were trying to pretend to be us. Right? So they were wearing our clothes, wearing our uniform of a Black American. But that's the diaspora that's been inviting everybody in. And we thought that they were us. So we followed along. We were trying to be on code. So, just really think about some of these things. Even Newstoter, sometimes you'll say black people, but really it's not Black Americans that are guilty of the action. It's the diaspora who's been infiltrating us, trying to pretend to be us for so long that they don't even realize that they're messing up. Like, we're just now realizing, like, oh, you're not us. And so, yeah, when you talk about the hip hop and sharing it and all that kind of stuff, even LL Cool J, they say that his blood is FBA, but that he was adopted by the diaspora. And if that's true, then he probably has that Pan-African sort of view and ideology. And so that would explain some of his things that he's saying and explain a lot of all those hip-hop people who've been giving away and not gatekeeping our culture properly. And I'll land my plane. Thank you.
All right, Brooke. Like I say, the thing, and I saw people in the original said that about LL Cool J. I just assumed, and you're right. At growing up, even though somebody may have been, I'm here in Florida, even though somebody may have been from the Bahamas or Jamaica or whatever, we looked at them as a black person. Like, so I'm used to saying black people, because we looked at everybody that came over here. Hey, and for the most part, they looked at themselves as being black as well too. They would say, I'm Jamaican, but they looked at themselves as being black as well too. So I'm still, still to a certain degree when I'm saying that our people start sitting up here and they start saying that, that this is everybody's, that this is for everybody and this and that or whatever, like things. And I kept saying, like, because I started hearing people I know saying, well, hey, like, yo, this is this music here is it's everybody's music and this and that. And everybody helped create hip hop, and I'm like, well, I'm thinking, at the time, you're talking about in the 90s or early 2000s. I'm thinking like, well, hey, black people created hip hop. What do you mean, like everybody created it and stuff? But I had a couple cats that I knew in the 90s and stuff, some island cats, and they was like, yeah, yeah. I was like, yeah, what's this thing with Hispanics about that? You know, that they helped create hip hop. Like, yeah, they did help create it as well too. And I'm like, well, when? How did they create hip hop or whatever? Like that. So, you know, on that sense, on that what you're saying there, Brooke, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you're saying that the black diaspora and stuff like that, and so I like I say, I really didn't think about it like that, but you know, the still the same point that I'm saying is that, like, you know, I just feel like they open it up. Like when you hear people now, you hear the first thing when they talk about hip hop is the culture. Like to me, that's taking it from black people. That when you say it's the culture, it's the culture, it's the culture, like it's almost it's a bad thing to say, hey, hip hop is black culture. Like that, like we giving black people too much credit, and I know you say like, well, you're not specifying or whatever, but at this point, I'm just saying that people start sitting and taking it and say, well, you know, it's the culture, it's the culture, and we know. Let's be honest. When we think about black culture in this country, we're thinking about Black American culture. When we talk about black culture, you know, we're thinking about Black American culture. So first and foremost, so when I start hearing people saying that it's the culture, it's the culture, it's the like hip hop, and I hear Fat Joe, and I hear a lot of white people, and a lot. Well, hip hop is everybody's culture. Like what? Okay, hip hop in 1987 wasn't everybody's culture when I was in damn elementary school. Okay, hip hop in 1991 wasn't everybody's culture. Hip hop in 1995, hip hop in 1999 wasn't everybody's culture. Yeah, a bunch of people listen to hip hop and a bunch of people like, and you couldn't tell a bunch of white boys and a bunch of Hispanics that they didn't know more about hip hop than you because they bought just as many records as you did and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, it was never like, hey, it was never looked at like, yo, this is everybody's culture. This is our music. This is just as much as ours as yours. So to me, that's dangerous when you start saying that. Because like I say, no other genre in this country you can never go up to anybody. You'll never go up to an Italian and tell them that the classic music, the opera music is everybody's culture. You know, this is a gift to the world. So it's everybody's music. Hell, I remember Aretha Franklin went up there and filled in for Pavarotti when he got sick, and she absolutely tore it apart. Nobody's gonna sit up there and say, well, you know, because Aretha Franklin once again showed her musical chops and showed why she's one of the greatest talents and greatest music singers of all time. You know, that opera music is really everybody's music and this and that. No, it's only with black people, and namely black Americans. When black Americans have something, just like rock and roll, and that's what I'm saying, that's the danger part of it. Just like rock and roll and all this other stuff, it becomes disco and everything else. Well, you know, it's everybody. Oh, they so and so created this. Yeah, you had some black people. Yeah, so and so created. It was poor people that created. It was a disenfranchised. It was all of this other stuff they started going around the damn table about. Soon you go ahead and you start taking what actually black people, by black I mean black Americans, created, and you start heaping the praise on everybody else. And then you got a lot of these people that's not even black Americans sitting up here and trying to give you a damn lesson and almost to the point that they blacker than you are. So that's the issue that I have with it right there. I see we got some hands up. Let me go ahead and get to Carlos. You hadn't had a chance to speak, so let me go ahead and get to you, Carlos. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, family? Thanks for letting me speak. I just wanted to piggyback on kind of what you was just saying. I just posted something in the comment section where Carlos Santana was saying the music that you consider Spanish or Latin music really is African, and black people need to get the credit for it. So if you didn't create your own damn music, how the hell can you get credit for creating something that's synonymous with us? And like the sister just said, they came over here and played like us. Like I've been a fan of Busta Rhymes music since he was with Leaders of the Newstoter, and had no idea he was Jamaican until recently. Had no idea he was Jamaican until recently because he played the part so well. And for that matter, Bob Marley had his little niche as far as like music wise in this country, but dancehall reggae did not even pop off over here. I remember KRS-One had the song with Shabba Ranks, The Jam, and that's when more black people started getting into reggae music because of the simple fact that it was with KRS One. He made the song with Shabba Ranks, and that's when it just like took off. But yeah, how can you say you created something when you didn't even create your own damn music? And I'll just land.
All right, thank you, Carlos. You go ahead and get to Go ahead, original. You got it.
Okay, yeah, but Newstoter, you were right about how they can, they can mimic. In my opinion, they're just mimicking hip hop because I'm gonna tell you. Remember that song by Natalie Cole? This will be, everlasting.
Yeah, yeah, that's a classic there.
Okay.
And Natalie broke it down towards the end of it too.
Right, but let me I don't know if you know this, but what I heard was that song was the writer of that song wrote that song for Aretha Franklin. But see, can't nobody hit it. And at the time, Natalie was at her best, and she nailed that song. But see, no one really could touch the Queen of Soul's music. Cause it was like that song. I think it's I Still Little Prayer for You. Dionne Warwick had a version out, but it was a Aretha Franklin version that everybody just loved. They didn't hate Dionne, but Dionne. I'm not dissing Dionne. Don't get me wrong, anybody, but hers was just a little flat. But Aretha, she had that grit, that soul that she put in that song. But even that song. What was that song? It was one of Otis Redding's songs. I can't think of the name of the song right now, but Otis Redding said, "Let me know God and stole my song."
You talk about respect.
Respect, yeah, that's it. Respect, yeah. And so, but see, Otis' version was great, but when Aretha hit that, and see, it was even said that somebody was trying to get Barbra Streisand to do a duet with Aretha Franklin, and she said, "Oh." See, when you have real people making and singing real music, the rest of the world, they are afraid to. The only way they can try to win like the white boy in Texas is if they cheat and they steal. That's the only way, and that's what's going on now with hip hop. Because when you look at a lot of this stuff, it's like, yeah, we are the originator, but see, it's like these people, they have this. Their minds are so demented, and they have these issues with us. I mean, it's just like when you see things like somebody which I already knew. Somebody posted an article today about black scientists that worked on the Manhattan Project back during World War II. And so we've done all this great stuff, but see, they can't do this without us. And now they're trying to figure out how to put us back in robot mode where we're just going through the motions, making all this good stuff and doing all these wonderful things, and just trying to say, oh, it's for everybody. No, we're not doing that any longer. And the sad part about it is some of the high-profile black people, whether they be in entertainment, politics, or whatever, they have assisted with this, you see. And so this is why now we are gatekeeping everything and letting people know. Just tell them, no, you did not create anything. You was not there. This came from us, and I don't give a damn whether you get upset or not. Because if you want to create your own stuff. Because if you look at the Spanish-speaking people, they were, especially the Mexicans, they were primarily singing mariachi music, and stuff like that. And like I said, if you dig through the layers deep enough, you'll probably find some black on that too. So I just want people to understand is that we just have to stop the stealing of our culture, because they want our culture, but they don't want us. But without our culture, they don't have anything. And that's just being real. But yeah, when you look at some of those things like Aretha Franklin and Otis Redding, and see, and Newstoter, when you look at a lot of these hip hop, these the non-foundational people of hip hop, they they are still stealing from, they're making beats from our music and trying to say that they're this, that, or whatever, because they don't have it. Nobody in the world makes music like we do. Because I know back in the 90s, people say, no, jazz is a black art form. But they said, oh no, jazz is an American. No, it's a black American art form. That's what it is. Don't get it twisted. So they've always pushed this, because I was reading something whereby even some of the jazz artists back in the day, when they was accusing the white musicians of stealing their music, and they did steal it. So we just have to understand and try to be as informed as we can, to make sure that when we encounter these thieves, we let them know, no, this has nothing to do with you. This is black. And see, when I say black, I mean black American. I know sometimes people say, well, we do have to delineate, but
Black with a capital B, Black American.
Say that again.
Black with a capital B, Black American.
Damn right, Black American. So that way that they know, because we don't have anybody to depend on but ourselves. The people from the diaspora have shown us they are not with us. So I'm not wasting any time trying to get them, trying to convince them that it's in their best interest to work with us. Those that want to, cool. I can work with them. But those that show that we're on the enemy side, I'm not wasting any time with that. But that's a waste of my time and energy. And I don't have any of that to waste. But I just want to say that though, man, because yeah, when you look at a lot of this stuff, like I said, and there were several songs that it was Otis Redding, that song, there were several songs that Aretha Franklin sang that someone else had sung, but once we put her style on it, that it became her song. Like I said, Otis said, "Let me look down and stole my song." I'm gonna land with that.
Well, originally, it was the same way with Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross as well too. When they touched other people's songs and stuff, it became their songs. I mean, look at the "I Will Always Love You," and look at Shaka Khan's "I'm Every Woman," greatest love of all, Whitney Houston. I mean, a number of songs Luther Vandross, he touched up, became their actual songs as well too. So they were those type of artists that they could take something and really put their spin on it, and that it was something when they touched on it as well too. And getting to your point, and here I'm gonna get to you, when you talk about the jazz thing, that's what I'm talking about. You got a bunch, and jazz and blues as well too, because I've seen a bunch of white cats and blues and stuff. You couldn't tell them that they didn't have as much soul as B.B. King and some of the other ones and stuff like that as well too. And you're right, for jazz, they started taking jazz, and because as I started becoming, started getting older, I actually started seeing more white people in jazz and stuff. And I'm like, well, in jazz, a black music form and stuff like that, that you start having more actual white people up in jazz. So that's what I'm saying. That is the danger of it like that as well too. Just like that.
Check this out though. But see, jazz was the same way as hip hop. When jazz was created,
I know.
Considered dirty and all these they use all these pejorative words. And then when they got to where they could mimic it, all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's for everybody. I'm gonna land with that.
Real talk. Go ahead, Hero, you got it.
So I've got a couple statements and a couple questions. The statements is just that I was taught that like the Big Bang for hip hop culture was August 11, 73 at Kool Herc's little sister's party. That's what I was taught. But Kool Herc himself seems to have always been honest about the fact that though he's the son of Jamaican immigrants, the music that he's playing and the inspiration for his craft and everything that was happening at his party was all Black American. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
He didn't get it from the country that his parents is from, or he didn't get it from, you know what I'm saying, nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? It came from listening and following the steps of Black Americans that had been there.
But not only that, Hero, but didn't Kool Herc come over here when he was 10 years of age and start living in America too? So he grew up over here.
Right, and I'm glad you said that because that leads to my question, which is I've always looked at Black American as like it's one thing to be an immigrant from like a first generation like you're an immigrant from an African country, say an African country. Like if you come from Nigeria, you're Nigerian American because you immigrated from Nigeria in your lifetime. But if your parents or grandparents came from another country that has the diaspora in it, and then you were born in America, I always looked at that person as Black American because they're born in America as a Black person. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I was looking. I just, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like a question. I didn't really phrase it right. But like, what do you think? Because like Biggie, for example, like I'm pretty sure Biggie's parents are not from the United States. But Biggie's born here. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
He's an immigrant though. See,
But
that's
he
the
didn't
issue.
immigrate.
No, but see, right. See, here's the issue. See, we accepted them. We thought they was allies, that they would work with us. But unbeknownst to us, they were stabbing us in the back, the side, and the heart at the same time. Because see, I would hear some of these same people when they came. It's kind of like this. Remember when Jesse Smollett, when he got caught, and them two Nigerians that was with him, right? So there was chatter online where some of them were saying, well, why they got to say they're Nigerian? Because they are. See, when these people with an immigrant background,
right,
when they do some positive stuff, they wave their flag and say, oh no, this is who we are. We're not with them black ones over there. But when they do some very degenerate stuff, all of a sudden they just want to go under being black. Because then we have to absorb that negativity. We're not doing that any longer. So yes, they are still considered immigrants because see, my point is, and see, the reason I say that is because they always have this. They have this dual personality. I sometimes call them civil. You don't know which side of the personality going to come out, but that's what they do. If it's stuff that's negative, they say, oh yeah, that's not us. See, this is how we do it in the Caribbean. I mean, just like they say, it was said that that Candace Owen had a grandfather or great grandfather, one of them was like a Black American. But see, she always pushed Caribbean, and see, because they look like us, they want to pretend that they are us, and they can come in and they can mimic us pretty well. But then eventually, that other side come out and they let us know we're not with y'all. We don't like y'all, and so that's what we are making corrections on right now and letting them know. Fine, we don't have an issue with that. You don't like us, fine. Just understand when the system attack you, we're not coming to your rescue. That's what it is now. So, no, if you are an immigrant, because see, if you look at it like, even like people like, let's say, Italians or whatever, they say, even though some of them have been here for decades, but they were still, and they're like maybe fifth generation or whatever, right? They still say that they are Italian. They'll say they're Italian or Italian American. And these black people are not any different. And we have to understand that because see, as long as we continue to accept them into our fold, they're going to continue to undermine us. That's why they're fighting so hard now. And some of our stupid people, high-profile people, they are fighting with them to try to destroy our lineage-based reparations platform. And so what we have to do is just begin to compile information so that when we come in contact with these people, we let them know. Just like Mark Morial. Mark Morial, he's been saying, I don't know when the video was made, but he was making all this pejorative stuff about ADOS. But yet he had a platform whereby he was promoting something specifically for Haitians. So if you're going to promote stuff specifically for Haitians, but you don't want to do the same thing for Black Americans. That is a huge issue. So we have to compile this information so when these fools step up to the plate, we can beat them at their own game. And I'll land with that.
All right, let me go ahead and get to Ray real quick. Go ahead, Ray.
What's going on, y'all? I posted some stuff up in the Jumbotron forums. Some stuff from, a couple of the legends, Grandmaster Cat, and a couple other folks you want to see. And they even admit that, Black people invented hip hop. A lot of them said they couldn't even play it back then because the Latinos called it jungle music. So if anyone wants to know, what's up?
That Mornetto shit. That's what they call it.
Yeah, so if y'all want to check that out, that's in the Jumbotron. I'm going to pose a simple question to the room, and I'm not trolling. It's a very simple question. So if Latinos created hip-hop, where is the Latino Tupac? Where is the Latino 50 Cent? Et cetera, the Latino Biggie. It doesn't exist unless it's somebody that I don't know about. But I'm going to land right there and let that ponder on your mind. If they really created hip-hop, how are we so much better than them if they created it? That does make sense.
Real talk. That's a good talking point that you put out there as well too. They don't exist. And the ones that they do have, Big Pun, that would be on that level. Big Pun he grew up in the actual black and black culture as well. Big Pun himself said that it was the Black Americans that allowed him to come through. And Big Pun to me is the best Latino hip hop artist of all time. And he himself had to go ahead and acknowledge that, hey, it was the black people that opened the lane for me to come through. So now all of a sudden his protege, even though Fat Joe technically was out before him, but Fat Joe himself had to go ahead and admit that Big Pun was better. Fat Joe comes up with this stuff that, hey, it was an even creation. And Big Pun himself didn't even say that. Go ahead, Ray.
I was just going to say, I believe it was a Big Pun song, I'm Not a Player. At the end of it, he's even saying, Barigua, Marina, I believe that was that song. So they truly know what's up. They're not really gonna admit it, and that's actually a video. I'm hoping someone can find it. I'm looking for it, and I can't find it. Where Big Pun is actually giving props to black people because we let Latinos into hip hop. If anyone can find that, please post it. I'm trying my hardest to find it. I've been looking for a good 20 minutes now. I can't find it.
That's the one I think I saw too, where he was giving props that he was saying, that the black people allowed them to come in there. So that's what I'm saying, to sit up here and say that you're an equal creator and stuff. But then, like I said too, I fault black people for allowing this and just going ahead and letting this actual thing slide. And even to this right now, look what's going on. Nobody checks when Busta Rhymes takes a shot and say Black Americans don't have any culture and this and that, and these so-called gangster rappers and stuff, even the old school ones from the old era and stuff from the 80s and that, they don't say anything. They just quiet as kept. They're like, okay, well, I don't want to start. It's like, hey, I don't want to mess up the fan base because I got a tour and this and that. I don't want to piss anybody off, so let me not say anything because some people may get upset or whatever if I say certain things or whatever. So like I say, black people themselves have a way of giving up power as well too. They allow the power structure to get ripped apart as well. Let me also say this right here too. Go ahead, Hero, real quick.
I was just gonna say, in my opinion, one of the books I like to recommend and always shout out is Dr. Claude Anderson, Black Labor, White Wealth, and Powernomics. I think that is a good guide for how Black Americans can have autonomy and control over what do we deserve to have control.
Oh yeah, I mean Dr. Claude Anderson, he is a living legend as well too. Like I say, what's going on isn't anything new with black culture. You look at all the adventures and stuff that's been ripped off in American history that black people created, and people go ahead and take it away and say, oh, y'all didn't create this, y'all didn't do this or whatever. So the music is just actually really a small part of what we've actually created in this country, and people go ahead and they rip off and they take away what you got. You can look back to the actual 60s and stuff like that on a lot of these and you look at back in the 60s and the 50s, a lot of these black artists, in order to sell to white kids, they had to actually put white people face on the cover of these albums and stuff like that as well too. Think about Pat Boone and all of the songs he ripped off from black people and everything else. So like I said, this is not anything new. This has been going on for a long, long time. I know original you said something to the effect that you were saying that I guess I think Hero said that he was asking a question about black if a black person was I guess had immigrant parents and they were born here in America, would they be considered an American? Based off of U.S. Law, they would be considered an actual American. You're right to a lot of to a certain degree though. They still will claim like if you got somebody that's Haitian and they were born, their parents are Haitian, but they were born here in America, they'll call themselves a Haitian American. But they'll say, well, yeah, I'm American, but I'm a Haitian American. So by law, and I know that's something that Donald Trump is talking about reversing the actual birthright. What are you talking about? Reversing, because we had a space on that, reversing the actual birthright citizenship as well too. That hey, basically, he's talking about trying to get rid of that, and I think even DeSantis was talking about trying to get rid of that as well too. But by law, Brooke, I see what you said. You say not anymore, but it's still to this point, it still is the law. But by law, they would be considered an actual American because they were actually born on the actual U.S. grounds or whatever. So that I don't know if that helps any. And I know a lot of people saying well that's something they should change and get rid of as well. But by law, they kind of would like Biggie. I believe Biggie was born in Brooklyn, even though his mother's Jamaican, and I'm not sure what his dad. I heard people say his dad was Jamaican. I don't know, but by law, Biggie would be considered, an American, and that's. I think I saw somewhere they posted somewhere as well too. They were saying that I don't know if they're saying immigrants and first something like immigrants and first generation. It was either second, it was either first or second generation black immigrants make up something like is it almost 21% of the population? I saw some kind of number. Yeah, that number was kind of high. I'm like that's a high number, but okay. You got it, Ray.
Would it reversing like guarantee citizenship and like being an American citizen by birth, like would reversing that be damaging to like black Americans and everybody else?
You're saying that if they actually start taking away, you're saying that if they get rid of the birthright citizenship and actually get rid of it, that they would be it would be damaging to the black population is what you're saying, the black American population.
I'm asking. What would be the ramifications of? Because I ain't never heard nothing out of DeSantis or Trump's mouth that I've never agreed with. So I hope we're not a right wing Trump DeSantis promoter.
Who you saying you hope is not a right wing Trump or DeSantis promoter?
Anybody.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I put Trump, DeSantis, and Joe Biden all in the same boat. I don't really separate them.
I wasn't saying nothing pro Joe Biden. I was just talking about DeSantis and Trump.
Well, yeah, I don't like I say I don't personally. I don't have much use for all three of them. I live here in Florida, so I know just how dangerous Ron DeSantis is. So Ron DeSantis, I definitely don't want to see Ron DeSantis become president of the United States personally. That I know a lot of people say it doesn't matter and this and that, but I think if you lived in Florida, you would beg to differ. I really do. I don't want to see Ron DeSantis become president of the United States of America personally. But I don't know how realistic that is. I know they said that they're gonna try to reverse that, but I don't. The president himself can't get rid of the birthright citizenship. So that would have to take an act of Congress to go ahead and do that as well. You got it, Ray. You got it, Ray.
So yeah, I wanted to ask y'all, since we're talking about birthright citizenship now, has anyone heard of there's a term that's going around called birth tourism? Have y'all heard about that?
Birth tourism? What exactly is that?
Okay, so birth tourism. I'm gonna post it up in the jumbotron. So basically, there's a bunch of pregnant women. So what they do is, and they're Russians, obviously. The Russian women, they come over here around their 8th, 9th month, and then they purposely give birth to Americans. So just so they can have the privilege of saying, hey, my child is an American citizen, and you can't separate me from my child. So this is how they're doing this on purpose. It's happening. I believe down there in Florida too. Like Florida had like a real big boom. I think what was that? I think it was like back in like 2019. That was an easy way for them to get their citizenship. So I'm gonna go ahead and post that if y'all want to read about the birth tourism, because again, they sneaking in here any kind of way they can, man.
All right, right.
The Chinese and other Asians, they were doing that too. So yeah, that's why some of the Republicans started saying, "Well, wait a minute, we got to get a handle on this." But the issue is, yeah, that's part of the 14th Amendment. But the issue becomes, see, the reason I don't trust white folks, and so if they were to get rid of it, then what would they do to us? Because let the record show. Black Americans are the most hated people in the world because I mean we getting hate from the blacks in the diaspora and everything else, and so that's why I would not support that, because my concern would be that they would they would work diligently to get rid of us, and so I just want people to understand that. But Newstoter, you was right when you said that about from the 60s, they would these black folks would make all this great music, and then they have like white people on the album, and they used a lie that, well, in order to get it on the shelves and this, that, and whatever, so we got to put this out there. So they were confused. I mean, they knew who the people were, but they would use that disguise. And, that was part of the disguise to steal the music. And so, because when you look at these people, anything that they do is all about stealing from us, because without us, they don't have anything, But there was this song, it was by Booker T and the MGs. And the song, it's an instrumental song, and I used to love that song. And so one day I could hear the song in my head, but I just couldn't think of who it was. So I heard it on the radio when this guy would play the oldies on Saturday morning, and I found out it was Booker T and the MGs. And then I pulled the song up on YouTube, and I'll be damned if they didn't have an ugly ass white girl sitting up there. That just ruined that song for me. So you're right. But see, again, Booker T had some white guys in his band, because he came out of Stax, and so Stax had like a studio musician. That's why their music was so great. They had a lot of those studio musicians, and so they would travel. At that time, they would travel to different venues, and the whole crew would just get up and go, and the same band is playing the song. So that's why the music was so great. But it was those, and some of those white guys could play pretty well, We said, oh, you got a white boy up there? I said, oh, okay. But all we wanted to hear was the music. And so that's how they would always try to wedge their way into our culture. And so people like, and since they was part of some of these bands, oh, no, he's cool. Yeah, he's fine, but he's cool. He with me. And we can no longer do that in our land.
All right. Thank you, Original. Let me go ahead and get to Brooke. Brooke, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello. Thank you. I wanted to come up and answer the question because there was a very good space that Pamela Denise Long held with some other immigration experts right after Trump announced the thing with the birthright citizenship. And so basically they can't retroactive any citizenships. So anybody who's already obtained the birthright citizenship would be clear. They'd be grandfathered in. And then any new people, if they ended birthright citizenship, then any new people born would not get that birthright citizenship. So yes, there was a question about or people were concerned about losing our citizenship, and so that was something that we got together and we got answered, and you know. But I mean, white people be white people. You know, they be white. They be doing white stuff. They be doing lie, cheat, and steal. Just, you know, whatever. So I would say always double check and read any sort of legislation that eventually comes out about it. Make sure you completely understand what that candidate is talking about, and challenge anybody who says that they're going to do that. You know, anybody who says that they're going to end birthright citizenship, or anybody who's pandering to you, talking about, oh, we're going to do away with immigration. Make sure they understand what they're talking about, and fully understand what each, you know, the president or secretaries of states can or cannot do. Because even with an executive order, there would still be other parts of birthright citizenship that might still apply, like for refugee status and just weird things that I've been smoking, so I don't know. But you know what I'm saying. So I land my plane.
All right. Thank you, Brooke. Let me go ahead and get to Ray. We go ahead and get to Ray. We ain't going to keep the space open too much longer. I know a lot of you came in later and we had the space going on. We spoke, we had the interview. It was later, and it was kind of hard to hear because he was on the phone, but we did have the actual interview with Chaz Brunch and Chaz Bunch, and we also talked about the Tupac case and Travis King, and also Jason Aldean as well too. So I know you guys may have missed it, so definitely go back and replay this space. As always, it's recorded, so definitely for those that missed it earlier, go ahead and replay the space, and you can check it out later on as well. Go ahead, Ray, you got it.
I was just going to add on to what I was saying earlier, what I forgot to mention. So about the Russian women, they estimated there's been over 30,000 women that have done that. And like I said, they fly here right when they're about to give birth, and they go to South Florida, and they say they prefer South Florida because it has very tropical weather, and evidently there's a large speaking Russian population. And sunny Isles Beach, I guess down in Miami, they even nicknamed it Little Moscow. So these people are literally planning this. I mean, the whole article breaks down about how they get passports. They prefer to get an American passport. Once a child turns 21, he or she can apply for, you know, green card, immigration status for their parents, and then bring the parents over. So it's a whole finesse. They got the doctors in on it and everything else. And I heard Original say about how that would affect us. Maybe I'm being naive, but I don't really see how that would really affect us, because we're not black immigrants that came over here, you know, fleeing persecution or whatever they claim they're going through. Like, we've been here. Like, they can't, how you going to send us back to somewhere? And a lot of us don't even honestly know where we came at in Africa. And then again, obviously there was some black people, you know, that were here, you know, that they've just been here for the longest time. So I don't see how they would really tie that in there. I mean, obviously the people that these days, that, you know, we can prove where they came from, but I don't see how they would do that to us.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. We're going to go ahead, guys, for the night, and we're going to close the space out. We will be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys check us out tomorrow. Like I say, for those that missed the beginning of the space, you can always go ahead and play it back. I want to give a shout out to all the speakers. We didn't have any co-hosts tonight, so I held it down. So shout out to all the speakers, the listeners, and everybody who tweeted out the space as well, guys. We will see you tomorrow night. Everybody be safe and have a good night.